What is up, peeps? Coach Kev here with another live stream tonight. We're going to be talking about Rex Heuermann and the case of the Long Island serial killer, which fingers point to him. Innocent until proven guilty, but we're going to show you some things tonight and go over just some of the evidence against him. We're going to talk about him kind of exclusively tonight, and you know how we are with the serial killer stuff. He definitely fits that category. Not adjudicated guilty yet, but the things I'm going to show you, really, really interesting stuff at the end of the day. And I have an interview that's going to blow your socks off. I mean, excuse me, having some of my medicine before I came on, but it's going to blow your socks off. It just really is. It's an interview with a guy who, a doctor, I think his name is Peter Dixon, who is apparently friends with Rex and some of these other people, but it's unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable. It doesn't mean that he's helped Rex do any of this or anything like that, but it's absolutely unbelievable. And it will blow you away. It's one of the craziest interviews I've ever seen. It's almost like something from wrestling, right? You watch wrestling. It's nuts. But I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to lay out the case against Rex. We will look at his planning document that he had recovered from his computer, where he listed out planning to kill these girls and what he would do, stuff that he had to take, measures that he took. I don't know if you guys knew this, but all signs point to the girls were killed somewhere else and dropped off where they were dropped off in the Gilgo Beach area, Jones Beach area. We'll show you a map of that too. But only a few folks in here tonight, but that's all right. We'll get started. People can catch us on replay. I was listening to some of Fig's live as I was getting ready for this. I don't know. I watched a few episodes of that, How to Make a Killer or whatever that show is called. But excuse me, wolf my own. But I didn't really get into it. Maybe I should. Anything Fig does, I'm a fan of. So if people were over there, I'm okay with that. CJK, what is up? And Jill, what is up? Looks like it just might be us three right now, but that is okay. Hey, there's Jinx. Good to see you. I was just saying, I saw you in Fig. I didn't comment. I was listening as I was getting ready, and I don't know that case that well. So maybe instead of watching Mayor Kingston for the fourth time, my girlfriend, fiance, excuse me, will be happy if we have something else to watch. But I never really got into that for whatever reason. It's a show you would think I would like or watch. It probably would enjoy it, but since Fig's in it, I'm cool. I'll check it out. See through, good to see you. For you couple that just jumped in, going to go over to lay out the case against Heuermann, what's going on. I have an interview with a Dr. Dixon from up there, and it's going to blow you away. I won't make you wait too long for it, but it's going to blow your mind. I mean, I'm not saying anything, but the guy's guilty of something. Speaking of being guilty of things, I shared a thing today, a video from a clinical psychologist, criminal psychologist. I think he has a degree in criminal psychology. He explains it. He also is a body language expert. He watched the Delphi interview tapes, and he says, like we kind of knew, that Richard Allen is lying like a rug. He's not lying when he looks you in the eye and does certain things like I didn't help anyone kill her. He said to his wife he looked at her, so he did it alone. But it's really good. I encourage you to watch it and check it out. Regardless, I don't know how you feel about the case or not, but the behavior panel, I sent them a message. I'm sure other people have. You'll see more of these body language people put it out because I'm a very, very novice in the body language thing. But I'm going to use it to actually help me. Let me tell you something real quick. Off every fucking topic here. Thank you. The shirt's awesome. Floor 4. Different guys' logos. Indie Archive, Randy, Jenks, and Frosty over there. He wasn't the missing Thomas Frost. If you watched Frank's video, but anyways, I'm running for the school board, so I went to a neighboring communities Democratic committee. I'm a registered Democrat. I probably lean more with like libertarian principles than either side, but I'm definitely a moderate, middle of the road Democrat, right? Is what I'm registered. Say I'm okay with that. Middle of the road, not crazy either way. And so I'm sitting in the parking lot waiting a couple minutes to go, and I'm looking at the cars, the different people's cars, and I'm beginning to think, just like in the top of my head, I bet you this kind of person drives that car. You see what are those? Like a Suzu Outbacks or whatever they are, rugged. See someone in there with sandals, like a hiker or something like that, or whatever. And I'm thinking back, like, wow, I'm actually doing some type of profiling here, thinking about these things. But April 29th, there's a school board debate, and I've already looked at thinking about what to wear and things like that, with message that your clothes even sends and stuff like that. So I don't know if I'll be able to. Subaru Crosstrek, there you go. But you know what I mean? I see a lady in there with, like, maybe she got like one of the Steve Irwin shirts and with some pants. She's a hiker, you know what I mean? She's fit, she'll punch you in the face, just that type. And I'd see a minivan with a bunch of stickers on the back. So I'm like, okay, who's driving that here? Could be mom or dad. A lot of people in my area only have one vehicle. So, but it's just interesting how all this comes together. But I have a lot of really good things to show you on Rex. Really good things. And like I said, I'll get to this interview with this Dr. Dixon, and it is, I'll show it to you sooner than later because it is beyond bizarre. So I see I'll be Frank. Frank's in here. Not Frank Meister. I talked to Frank Meister the other day. He actually had a Florida question, and I'll let him tell the story because it's a really funny question. And it was an answer that he already knew, but someone took someone's name and thought they were someone famous, basically, is what it was. But it's his story to tell. And he was like, I know this isn't true, but I got to ask you anyway. And I started laughing, and I said, it's not. But he's probably watching the Pacers game. I think the Cubs played this afternoon. But anyways, CRG, what's up? Good to see you. All right. I have a really interesting show. I don't know how much you know about Rex. Up to 7 murders charged right now. If he started in the late 80s, which is possible, if he started in the late 80s and went into around 2012 or 2015, he's going to be over 20 or near 20. That sucks to say, but here's the only good thing from it. Maybe some missing girls. I don't know if Rex is ever going to be the guy to talk. I haven't seen him yet. Richard Allen's not going to talk, in my opinion. He's not that. He's not BTK. He's not going to talk because he is ashamed at some level. He's not a sociopath, I don't think. I think he's a control freak, and he does have feelings. And I don't think he's going to talk. It's just my opinion, but I don't know about Rex. But if there's other cases and other girls that they haven't found, if he used a different site, maybe he used the site before then, and he would put the girls in clusters. We know that from Bundy. We know that from Gary Ridgway. We know it from whoever killed the children in Atlanta, because it wasn't Wayne Williams, the ones I'm talking about. They would put them in clusters. And we know for Ted Bundy purposes, he would go back. So on this investigation, if the cops didn't purposely, it would appear to be purposely fuck this investigation up. A guy named Jimmy Burke, not that Jimmy Burke, that Jimmy Burke had a lot more respect from me and a lot more class and was a better man than his police chief, Jimmy Burke. And I know what Jimmy Burke did, and I'm saying that the Goodfellas Jimmy Burke. This guy went to jail. It's a whole story. You could do a show on the investigation itself, but they're on the right track now. They had some good people in. They had a really good guy, Rodney Harrison. He got replaced by another good guy. They have a good DA. The DA ended up going to jail. But we'll get into all that. But this is really you could do hours on this case. And the more I'm getting into it, the more interesting it is. I'll show you Jim Clemente's profile. I've shared it before. Talk about it in my Discord. He's almost spot on everything, and it's wild. Yeah, the poison ivy thing we don't know about. Jim Clemente predicted whoever did this would have seek medical attention for poison ivy. No, I don't think we're even in that position yet. We're probably, because they're still charging. So I don't even know how these cases are going to break down. If they're going to do all these at once, if they're going to do a couple here, a couple there. Ultimately, what I believe, and I'm not a lawyer, and this isn't a legal channel, so don't take any legal advice from me. That's the disclaimer. But I would think that the defense would maybe say, hey, we want to do all this at once. Or, we want to split these trials up, or they would have some kind of inclination of something. I don't know, because at the end of the day, there could be more charges. Now, he could be charged, tried, acquitted, or found guilty, and then be charged later for other murders. He'll be given an opportunity to admit to everything and say, if there's other murders we don't know about, you tell us about it now. You face your time for it. We can't charge you for it later, but anything outside of any kind of plea agreement, as we're learning from the Keefe D shit, which is a little different because he didn't have a plea agreement. He had queen for a day. But anything outside of this, we could charge you for down the line and add another life sentence or another death, whatever it's going to be. New York probably is not going to kill him. I don't think it's not like Texas or Florida where the one comedian from the Blue Collar Comedy Door said, yeah, you guys are not doing the death penalties. My state put in an express lane. I can't remember what his name is. Tater Salad guy. God, I can't think of what his name. Fantastic comedian. But anyways, so we're going to kind of get into it here. What's up, Lone Pony? I think I said hi to everybody. And I got a lot of things to show you. And before long, I'll get that doctor's interview because it's crazy, guys. And I'm not saying I'll let you be the judge, but he's involved in something, okay? So let's open up the Coach Kev email. I sent a bunch of different things. I have a background to play, but I have so many things to show you. You know, I'll make backgrounds with pictures and stuff, but I have so many other things to show you that I don't even know if I need to play the background. Now, some of these pictures didn't show up like I wanted them to. I had them archived, so I had to go back and reopen them. But just let me show you some pictures introductory to you. This is Rex in high school. Making sure this is working. This is Rex in high school. And as Dr. Gary Bricado says, he appears with attorney John Ray. John Ray is the guy that, you know, dresses kind of like the Riddler from Batman. He has like a George Carlin ponytail. He always wears a hat. Cool guy. I really like the guy. I think he kind of went off the deep end, maybe on his press conference over the summer with the Dr. Gary Bricato's there and saying things about his wife and his daughter. And we're not going to really talk about them tonight because it's totally possible that this was going on. They had no inkling. You know, go back to Delphi like we kind of always do. I know people feel certain ways about Kathy Allen. I feel bad for her. That interview showed me that she was being manipulated by a near master manipulator, a narcissist. No offense, but you throw in a guy that's shorter like that, and he's going to be me against the world like Tupac. So that's just my 2 cents on that. But it's possible that neither Rex Heuermann's wife nor daughter doesn't know. She's posted stuff on social media, sadistic, sexual things, but nothing illegal. Some things adults are into. And then just because I'm not into it, I'm not going to judge them as long as you're not doing it with kids or dogs and other consenting adults. This is Jimmy Burke. This guy's a piece of shit. He later on and finally gets fired because the suspect takes things out of he has a car, an undercover car parked by his house. And in the bag is drugs, guns, and like dildos. Yeah, you just heard what I said. I'm not going to say it again because I just got on good graces again with YouTube. But you heard what I said. You could rewind it. Those things were in the car. And I also think, those 3 things were in the car. So they take this guy to the station. They beat the shit out of him on camera. Burke ends up getting fired for this, but there's so many other things. Then he propositioned a male undercover. He wanted to perform fellatio on the male undercover. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. I don't know. Maybe he has breakfast and that's what he's into after. It's a free country. Just find a consenting adult and don't proposition an undercover cop when you are a Suffolk County Police Chief. This is Rodney Harrison. He took over for a few years. He was the guy that brought the FBI back in. I'm not sure what happened. There could have just been a political fallout. I don't think he did anything bad, but he was really on the ball. These are the victims or some of the victims right now. Heuermann has been charged with 7. Down here is they're calling Asian John Doe. So it's a man, an Asian man of Asian descent who was apparently dressed like a woman. And there hasn't been much released about, cause of death and things like that I could find or know of, or really about any of them. There's a general cause of death, but I'm going to be guessing that this guy probably took a severe beating. This happened in a car. This happened somewhere. As soon as Heuermann discovered who this was, he probably went absolutely crazy because all the control. This is all about control. He's a sexually sadistic killer. Where we heard that before. But he's a step past, sadistic wise, what Richard Allen was. And we'll talk about what I mean by that. This is the guy. I haven't wrote his name down. He's the police chief now, but appears to be a good guy. You could look it up. Here's another picture where they added some other girls. Some of these girls go back to the 80s. You know, we're going to do a show about victimology. I want to do a show just about that. I wanted to get this information out here because I hope that this show spurs interest. So if you, I think it's going to be really good. Share it, you know, show other people and be like, hey, go check this out. This isn't my information. This is just stuff that I found and compiled. This guy was the former DA. I had his name written down, but he's a bozo. He's an absolute bozo. He also went to jail. There's Burke. Again, here's the new guy, the new DA. Pretty cool guy. They've got some pictures with Heuermann here. Bozo DA. Okay, here we go. Here's where bodies were discovered. And you see the cluster of 4 at the bottom. Asian male is kind of on his own. You know, a couple people are, you know, just a little bit off the beaten trail, but it's all near the same road. And if you're looking too, as far as I can tell through my research, it's on the same side of the road. So it's on like I guess it would be the channel side, you would call it. It looks like to me that this is the channel. I can't say that for sure. Maybe this is the ocean, but it's all over here in these marshlands. You know, you have beach. They're not obviously, maybe you don't dump anyone on a beach, you would think, but it's kind of a consistent pattern. There's also a baby that was found too. And there was an unknown girl, Peaches, they call her because of a tattoo. Yeah, some of these pictures didn't come through. These are the ones because I did not, they were archived photos and I didn't unarchive them. But I did something even better. So let's jump back into see if any has any questions. And I'm going to show you this doctor video then. I'm going to show you this doctor video because it's fucking crazy. I'm going to show you the doctor video now because I can't wait. So we're going to, I think, 448. And I'll credit the folks who posted it. Hey, I'm live. I send myself alerts to see if I get them. And lately I've been getting them, but for a long time, it would be absolutely hit or miss. So I'm going to cue this up. We're going to talk about this. This is going to be educational for you. And it's going to be a little bit entertaining too, but mainly educational. So we have Crime Watch, and this is a True Crime News YouTube page that shares this. And we have Crime Watch was the story. This was done 9 years ago. But I just want to show you one part. This is where we're going to interview the doctor. There's John Ray. We'll show you a picture of him later. So this is the doctor. He doesn't want to talk about it, but they kind of catch him coming out. So 443, I'm going to share the right tab. We're going to go to 443 and make this big. And be ready to have your socks blown off by this. Okay, so I got to see what you guys have to say about this. I'm going to call 911. I'm a doctor who's having a heart attack or faking a heart attack or saying about a defibrillator. Let me make sure I catch up on everything. But how crazy is that? I mean, it's crazy on so many different levels. Again, Crime Watch creates that. This True Crime News page that we're on there. I encourage you to follow on like both of those channels. They're big channels. Focuses on RH. Huh. That'd be interesting. Yeah, if you remember, I know Jinx asked you. Could be the answer right here. Anna, Nathan Adams. Hey, we should be able to find it from that. Appreciate that. I wrote NA. I know that does. I know what that means, but I want to check that out too. I got some laundry to fold. Jinx shares a channel. Another one here. A local. Always good to have locals. So anyways, what do you guys think about this doctor, right? This Dr. Hackett. I think they Peter Hackett. He's a liar. One of the things that right away that tells me that he's lying, and again, I'm a very novice at reading body language, but when they ask him about if he had anything to do with the death of Shannon Gilbert, you know, was the one that her mom, who's since passed away, unfortunately, in a terrible tragedy to that family. The family suffered so much, but he called Shannon Gilbert's mother told her that he ran a home for wayward girls. I'll play this again in a second. And that he was treating her or whatever. What? How, before, this is like right after she went missing. So before anyone knew she was dead or anything like that. But one of the things that tips him off as being a liar, and I'll show this to you when I play it again. And it's one of the, it's the unnatural thing, right? It's hard to lie. Even people that are good at lying, it's hard to lie. So they're not always going to look at you. They'll look at you when they tell the truth. They're going to make sure they look at you when they tell the truth if they're telling a lie, because certain things are going to be true. So they're making that eye contact with their truth. They're even overcompensating. They're like, well, I know I'm not looking primally. I know I'm not looking at them when I'm lying, but here I am telling you truth. So I'm going to maximize this truth telling, and boom, and they're going to fade out words, right? We've watched the video I showed. Richard Allen did that, fading truth. So you're not answering like, yeah, I didn't do it. Like, no, motherfucker, I didn't do it. Not everyone does that. I know that, but anyways, so he answers, he shakes his head yes, and then he says no. So those are two things that doesn't look right. If half of your face does something, you're showing some kind of contempt for something, or you would be maybe in that point deceiving or something like that. But this is what they teach you, the behavior panel. And the guy's name, oh God, I wish I would have wrote his name down and really been prepared for tonight, huh, folks? But go to my page and look and watch. The video is about 26 minutes long. And I knew that, Alan, the way he was sitting, he's grabbing, he goes from holding his leg to grabbing his leg to grip, so he's under a lot of stress. But, you could argue that anyone that gets interviewed by police is going to be under stress. Sure. But there's certain points that he's really under stress. So, yeah, the doctor is extra creepy. Now, listen, I'm not saying that the doctor is an accomplice to Heuermann or anything like that, but this motherfucker is clearly lying. Clearly lying. He fakes a heart attack. He wants to know the name. You want me to call 911? No, I'm a doctor. What are you going to do? Shock yourself, doc? And of course, this is an older video, but let's go back. I'm going to play it one more time. And the only time I'll stop at a time or two here because I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube, so that's why it'll be chopped up. But this, if you're into this case, this is just incredibly interesting. And I don't know if the behavior panel ever looked at this guy or not. I would love to see it. They talked about Heuermann. They did a thing on Heuermann. Check that out. Where they even mentioned, I don't know if they mentioned or even joked that the guy doing the interview, like, does he work for the FBI? Is this a setup? Because he's asking all the right questions. He's eliciting these responses from Heuermann when Heuermann talks about himself. Big grand gestures. He talks about anything else. He's kind of in close, family. Yeah. Let's get back to me. Right. So again, back
in the courthouse parking lot
there we go.
after his deposition to see if he had anything to say.
He's walking out.
You run a home for wayward girls?
Home for wayward girls. You stop in your tracks and you say, what the fuck are you talking about? Absolutely not. Like, what? Come to my house. Come on over. I'm going home right now. You don't not walk away like this. This is just like, holy shit, why isn't this guy protesting that immediately? But he's obviously, I'm not saying he runs a home for wayward girls, but he knows maybe what the next question is because he made that phone call, Dr. Hackett. Him shake his head and then say, that's like primally, yeah. So what did he have to do with her death? We don't know. Is Shannon Gilbert really not one of Heuermann's victims, like the police, kind of say? But her mother's the one that brought the attention, really. The other families worked hard too, but it was Mrs. Gilbert that was just bang, bang, bang. Beyond bizarre, right? Absolutely beyond bizarre. Like, beyond bizarre. I don't even know what you say to that. That's just crazy. The guy's guilty of something, and it's probably having to do with Shannon Gilbert. All right. You don't have to be a detective to know that, but he's trying to get sympathy on himself, but it's comical in a way. And I think we're not making fun of anyone who would ever have a heart attack, but this guy's clearly faking it, right? We don't got to be Doogie Howser to know that this guy is not having a heart attack. I'm a doctor. Well, you're having a fucking heart attack. Any doctor that thinks they're having a heart attack and someone says call 911, they're not going to say stop them. I'm a doctor. I might be incapacitated here in a few seconds. Yes, get the defibrillator, shock my ass, do what you got to do. But come, everyone come. But it's insane. So yeah, he's at the house. That I believe that's been pinned down, CJK. I don't know if people would argue that or not, but I believe that he was there tonight, that Shannon came out. Her driver, Michael Pack, is the guy. He's kind of going around looking for her. He does an interview where he's really cool and collective. I'd want to know the most from Pack. Like, in the police at the time that were investigating weren't really investigating. Burke was at parties out here. We don't know if Burke, that I could tell, was ever with Heuermann at one of these parties, but he was at parties. So these rich white guys would go out there and their wives would either be away or it would be like a vacation home, and they would get a bunch of blow and they would get a bunch of sex workers to come out. And that's what they would do. And they'd party out there like all weekend. They'd go out Friday and maybe come home Monday, and they would just party. You might grab 3-hour naps here or there, but the party never stopped. So think about the people that are out there with that kind of money. You have Heuermann, architect, Madison Avenue, I think it was, architect, doctors, lawyers. You have a ton of people. The police chief's going to parties out there of Suffolk County. So you're probably going to have big political people there. It's a way to cut loose. I don't know who all he came across, or if that's why. Maybe these people like Burke didn't have anything to do with any of the murders, even though he would like to strangle the girls and things like that. He just said it was to help stimulate him during sex. But who knows? If doesn't mean if you're into that you're going to go down that path. But people will go down that path first before they just jump in and do it. Okay, so 9 times out of 10, let's understand that. So it doesn't mean that he was going to go down that path, but people that do go down that path do what he was doing first. This is Burke, the police chief. So yeah, let me show you some more. Okay, I have quite a bit of stuff to show you. And as the email comes up, but that's just nuts. I mean, that's just absolutely crazy, huh? All righty. Okay. So a couple images here. We have the belt as we come up to the stage. We have the belt that was discovered, the belt buckle part that was discovered with this. W.H. Heuermann, could be the grandfather's. Don't really know for sure. But anyways, it has some of his hair. I think it was hair or DNA. I think it was hair. I think there was a hair on this. And it's 99.9999% chance it's him. These are the timeout dolls, and these things I never heard of before, and they're absolutely kind of, to me, bizarre. Maybe I don't get it, but they don't have faces, and you put them in corners, and they're being timeout. They're being put into timeout, so they're being disciplined. So there's some kind of power thing here. I don't understand it. I never heard of it till this case. There's a little bit, again, it's something, or a corner doll, and it explains a little bit. That's probably awfully hard to see. So let me make this a little bit bigger. Timeout doll or corner doll is apparently a largest realistic child doll that is poised with its hands over its face, intended to be stood in the corner up against a piece of furniture. So it appears that the doll or child is being punished. You could buy these things on eBay. I don't know. Nothing that I would like to have in my house. This is Megan Waterman's memorial cross that they put up. One of the girls, the lost girls, if you will, from the Gilgo Beach. Heuermann charged with this. That doll was put up after the fact. Okay, that doll was put up after the fact at Megan Waterman's place. So it's hard to tell what's in these things here. So we know that we have some kind of doll if we look at this, right? The doll would be laying down flat. This is coming out of Heuermann's house. So let's see how good that looks on StreamYard. We can get it bigger. That's as big as it'll go. All right. Unfortunately, that's as big as it'll go on my end. It's a lot bigger, but so we're looking at that. We could see it's some kind of doll. You can see her legs. She has long blonde hair. It looks like maybe reddish hair. I can't tell if she's holding flowers or something. But this is being taken out. So you could see the legs would be here, and it would stand up. So this was in the house somewhere. What does it mean? Could it mean nothing? Sure, it could mean nothing. Or, we know that he's in the doll. So then from there, would the timeout doll be that big of a leap to get to that doll? We also know that he had in his home, he had artwork of a girl, of an abused woman. Showed you this one already, where she had a black and blue face, and it was a picture of that. So now we're going to get to some of the documents here from Heuermann. This was from the, I guess, the PCA, the pizza box. So they're following Heuermann around. They know that he's a big guy. I don't necessarily know if he's going to be violent or not, but he's an ogre, as he was described on previous occasions by people that saw him, an ogre driving an avalanche. And New York City's a big place, but he may have been indeed the only ogre driving, especially a green avalanche at the time. I know for a while they were big here, but they weren't necessarily super common vehicles. But anyways, let's get back up. There's the pizza box. So they're watching him. They have all the evidence. They have their stuff. They just want to have the DNA done. So they take it out the pizza box as he throws it away. They're on him. So they see him throw that box away, which appears to be pizza. And I'm sure that they knew that he either picked pizza up or had it delivered because they were watching him. And they said, let's grab this. We know that he ate it. He's throwing it in there. And boom, they took the DNA off it. And it's Heuermann. More legal documents. Yeah, these are just the test results. There's something better I want to show you here. I don't know if it's in this email group or not. Okay, yeah, here we go. So these were searches that he had. We'll read you the whole thing. Legal process served on Google, seeking records or accounts associated with the device. So this is his, I believe his phone. Identifiers, additional burner phones, reveal connection to yet another burner or junk email account. I mean the redact. I have the unredacted one, but I don't see the point in putting it in here. Here in Thawk email account, Google records further indicated that the Thawk email account was subscribed in a fictitious name, Thomas Hawk. Search warrant revealed that the Thawk email account, also associated with the burner cell phone, was used to conduct thousands of searches related to sex workers, sadistic torture. So they were actually able to get his burner phone searches, Mistress Long Island, mature escorts. I mean, it goes on, and you could see what this guy's looking up. It is clearly sexual, sadistic, sicko shit. Okay, absolutely sicko shit. I don't even want to have it on my screen anymore. But you guys get the point of what he's doing. So, he's probably looking at these images and, doing whatever he's doing. But then at some point he jumps back and he has to have this release, this crazy release, this sick fucking release that he has. And it's, that's the reason for profiling, the reason for all this. How do you stop these people? How do you find out about them before they do it? You can't, but how do you know who, is it fair to follow people? I don't know. But, when someone displays these tendencies, and they've gotten a lot better at it, it's hard to do that nowadays. So my man, Jim Clemente, 2011, this is from Griselda True Crime. She has a great show, a great episode of this where she goes over it. She made this little image here, and I'm having it up for you. In 2011, Jim Clemente created a profile for a Long Island serial killer. So this is 2011. No one knows who Heuermann is at this point. Maybe the police do, but they don't want to know because they're still being run by less than stellar individuals. White male in his mid-20s to mid-40s. Rex was 47 at the time. Married or has a girlfriend, educated, well-spoken, financially secure, has a job, and owns an expensive car or truck. May have sought treatment in a hospital for poison ivy infection, which is always like, everyone's like, reads this and they're like, what? And I don't know, I've never heard really Jim necessarily explain that, but I would assume because of looking at the crime scenes or the disposal sites, as we know that they are now, the disposal sites, maybe it's rot with poison ivy or something. Maybe the thought process is, if you're going in here this deep, it's a possibility that you have this. Did they have hairs? Yeah, they had hairs. So maybe they knew that the hairs were like reddish hairs. So Jim Clemente could think, okay, maybe this is a paler person, and maybe they're more apt to get poison ivy or to get an infection. That's only me pontificating. The man himself, some damn sure will answer that. Has access to stockpile burlap. Girls were in burlap, and Clemente says that this was actually a criminal de-sophistication, and you've taken them down a peg because of this. But now it kind of, when you look at the stuff and you look at the planning document and everything else he had, he's very sophisticated. But the burlap was like an attachment, a duck hunter. He hunt ducks. That's the conclusion I draw, and I think that that's the most likely one, and it's the easiest one to get to, because that area was known for that, and we know now that Rex did that. Lives or used to live near Ocean Parkway or on South Shore, Long Island. Has family familiar there with Go-Go Beach. So both of those things are Rex Heuermann. Went there for a long time with family. So I definitely wanted to show you that. So we also have a New York Times article. This was like the big article back in 2011. And I hope it doesn't ask me to pay for it, because it let me read it before. But it's a great article by them. Oh man, they're not going to let me. There they see. They didn't let me do it. Well, I'm not logging in. Sorry. I do believe I sent another one. Let me look. But anyways, John Kelly does a People's Magazine. I think it's a People's Magazine article. It's really fantastic. Yeah. Yeah, and these things I showed you before. I'm going to show you the one thing again, if it is in here. If it's in this one. Okay, yeah. So again, this is the route, if you will. Gilgo Beach, Jones Beach. If you would, what I did was, and I didn't, I don't even know how to take it from my phone or something and plug it into here, but go to Google Earth and look up Gilgo Beach and just look around, and you can like literally, get down almost to the ground. Now it's rural area, so I don't know how much you're going to get in there, but to see how thick it is and how tough it is to get in. So someone knowing this area might know, well, hey, there's a little foot beaten path maybe. There we go. Sorry, guys. There's a little foot beaten path maybe that you can walk in, because I know, because duck hunters do. This is the one I showed you before. You could drag them from here, from there, whatever. But as it appears to be that they were, killed outside of this area and then brought there. And this was his dumping ground. Now, remember, Joe Rifkin, convicted, still in jail. The other guy was named Shar. He was from, was it Mannersville? Or he was dumping girls in Mannersville. One of the girls linked to Heuermann was found in Mannersville. He died in prison. I think he had a death penalty for 1990s for he was dismembering sex workers, and they weren't sure if there was overlap. Now, the one district attorney said that, this is a one person, this can't be two people. And the other guy says, well, this can't be one person, it's got to be two people. And there are different theories. Well, it's possible that he changed some of his MO. Actually, it wouldn't be MO. It would be more signature, although you could argue it would be MO because it's the way of disposal, way of getting away. But I would call it signature, where, some were mismembered, some weren't. There's a mention made of a tattoo of a girl. Another girl's found with which looks like maybe a tattoo cut off. So he was taking forensic countermeasures, and they know from searching his house that he was criminally sophisticated. So the burlap was something to him. It meant something. And like Clemente said, it was like a ritual to him. And when I say ritual, I don't mean candles and everybody humming and stuff like that. What I mean is a ritual. Like every day you have a ritual. You get up, you brush your teeth, you make your coffee, you put on the news, whatever it is you do, that's your ritual. He had to do this. That goes to signature too. Ritual. It doesn't have to be this way to make this crime, to commit this crime, but this is something that he's doing. And it's, you know, he's a big guy. He's a hulking guy. What is up, GP? I'm catching back the comments here because I was out there talking for a while. His defibrillator went off supposedly, but he didn't go backwards. Oh, yeah, I think so, little one, too. And it's just, but if you're a doctor and you're having a heart attack and someone says, you want me to call 911? You're going to say, yeah, not no, I'm a doctor. Yeah, I'm a doctor, so I know I need help. What's up, Gambies? Good to see you. But yeah, I encourage everybody here just to get more into this case and read about it. It's crazy. There's so many things that are crazy, and there's so many more. The people are now coming out of woodwork. Wait, what? This girl's missing here. Does this line up? Does that line up? Like we know some, right, about the way that they were left. We don't know every intimate detail or things like that. And the police always hold things back. We know that. And there's reasons that they do, and it's frustrating. JJ, what's up? And it's frustrating for us, but they have to do that. They have to do that, especially a case like this. You probably have 100 lunatics admitting to doing this. It was me. I did it. How many girls? Oh, I don't know. How many you got? How'd you do it? Well, I shot him. No. Strangled him. No. Stabbed him. No. You know, and then they have to devote resources to that. Camilla Gardens brand collectible porcelain dolls came in fancy glass cases, was taken out of his house. Easy to Google. Oh, wow. Okay. It's certainly possible. It probably is even more probable that belonged to his wife, but I just wonder if the doll had significance. You know what I mean? If it reminded him of something or something like that. And I haven't seen a picture. Well, in a press conference, actually, they show the picture. If you look up John Ray Gilgo family press conference, Dr. Bricada's there. It happened over the summer. They had big pictures, and I'm almost positive they had the picture of the woman with a black and blue face. Clearly looked to be a victim of domestic violence, and they had it hanging on their wall, like in their dining room. So that's bizarre. Listen, it's a free country. And, you know, maybe because I think that's weird. I'm different, but I think something's the matter with you if you would have that hanging up. But certainly possible. Daughter lived there too. Yorkshire, there's a case, I'll be frank. The Yorkshire Ripper. I forget what his name was, but there's a couple good documentaries on it. So, but again, the doctor thing is just JJ. You have to go back and watch the interview I played with the doctor. He does have some association with Heuermann, but I don't even know if that doctor's still alive or not. What is up, Boston Christian? Good to see you. But there's a ton of stuff out on this, you know, other cases that we've have talked about or things like that, or even some of the other big cases, not necessarily just like Delphi and Florida and stuff like that, but like the amount of information that is out on this case that they've shared is, you know, it's kind of astonishing. So they have a ton of you know, DNA, this, that, you name it. They have everything that you can have on Rex Heuermann, burner phone stuff that they ran down. This took too long to happen, this arrest. And again, there was a police officer and a DA that went to jail, a police chief. I hope you had a good time there. I couldn't go this year. I don't know who all went. I saw a couple pictures, and I know this will be the last one. You know, they have their closure now, as much closure as you can get. I don't even closure is the right word. I couldn't imagine. Hey, rescue, no problem. Yeah, if anyone just got her, you want to go back and watch that video. And Peter Sutcliffe, there you go, the Yorkshire Ripper. They found some money, or he tried to go back and get some money. There's an interesting way that they caught him, and initially, they traced the bill or something. It actually ended up being good police work after being maybe a little less than stellar initially. Yeah, you hear it now. So David, yeah, well, it's called Lost Girls. It's a documentary on Netflix. I think it's 3 parts, 2 or 3 parts. Really well done. I watched it. My girlfriend, or keep saying girlfriend, she's gonna hit me. My fiance will be married on the 4th of July. Not because we're super patriotic or anything. It's just it's a day that we really enjoy. We go to my parents. We go watch the fireworks, sit behind the fire station, drink White Claws and eat gluten-free hot dogs and shit like that all day and swim, hang out with my nephews. Great day. It usually always is a great day. So anyways, she wanted to watch it, and there was really nothing new that I learned other than the people, like David was just saying, former neighbors, former friends, kids in the neighborhood. So you have Rex, who has this fancy downtown Manhattan law or architect firm. And what he was is he was kind of like a Ray Donovan of architects. He wouldn't necessarily draw up shit for you, although he could do that. They would go to him and say, listen, we want to get this job done in 2 months. And it's New York City, and there's 10 million permits we got to fill out. You're a guy that, however, goes and gets this done. And Ray's a big guy. Maybe, I'm not saying he's not intimidating people, but if you're a bigger person, people may yield to you a little bit more. He probably knew how to use that. He probably knew how to use that with the girls too. But he began to know people. I think when he'd be at the bar, he'd throw the company credit card around. He'd invite some of these guys to these parties. So he knew these people. So he can go to the building permit guy for this or that and say, hey, Jimmy, I got a pretty good deal here. This guy's going to pay me X amount or this amount, and I could give you this, or, hey, we're having a party or whatever. And this is how these things all begin to work. And that web of corruption, I'm assuming, happened. And that's where Rex got his power from. And then you look at his house, it's totally dilapidated. You say, how could you have an architect like this? But he had a soundproof room in the basement. He once had an assistant go over there and measure, and I think it was for carpet, went over there and did measurements, and she wasn't allowed to go into this room. She said, yeah, she didn't really, I don't know if she said it was soundproof, but police discovered she had a soundproof room. Jim Clemente also said in his profile that this was a seasonal nature. He would do these things in the summer. Maybe the family went away. He said it's in 2011. We know now that's exactly what happened. As far as we know, for the cases that Rex is charged with thus far, the family was away, always away. Atlantic City, sometimes places in Maryland, sometimes back to Iceland, where Asa, Ellerup was her last name. They had 2 kids. She had a kid previous marriage, and they had a daughter together. And they talk about her in his press conference, but you need to go watch the press conference. I would just look up Attorney John Ray, Gilgo Beach press conference. It's an outside one, and I think it happened over the last summer. And he shows pictures, and they go off on a little bit of a tangent, but they have Dr. Gary Bricata there. And Dr. Gary Bricata studied under Dr. Ann Burgess, who developed the FBI Behavioral Science Unit, now the Behavioral Analysis Unit, with the Mindhunter program. So anyone that can walk down this road, it's going to be people like that. I lean on people like that, and they are the experts of it after all. So yeah, the dolls are weird. They're on 2 of the girls' things. One of the girls, it has like something stuffed in the mouth, and she was found in a similar fashion, is what's being said. Law enforcement's actually said that yet, but that it appears to be the case. So if they would have known and been on the Rex sooner, there was 2011. One of the girls, I'm pretty sure it was Megan Waterman. She had a guy over the house. She called for help. She said she was only dancing that night. He wanted more. Called over for help. 2 guys come over. I don't know what their affiliations were. They talk about it in the Netflix documentary. I don't know if one was a boyfriend or what it was, but whatever it was, you know, they were the guys to call if something went wrong, and boom, they come in. She's hiding. This big ogre appears. They kind of confront him. He doesn't want to leave without getting his money back. They make him leave anyway. See, about a 6'6" ogre, reddish hair, glasses, and he had a green avalanche. And they gave this to police. Police at that time didn't do anything with it. So this was, I believe, 2000 and maybe 9 even, or 2007. But a couple girls disappeared, and after that, and they could have stopped it right there. And if they would have looked for that, a green avalanche with this giant guy, you know what I mean? And it's, if you would have asked anybody in town, they probably would have said, you know, oh, that's Rex. You know what I mean? It's an affluent area. I would imagine most people know people. It's not a huge area. You know what I mean? It's like a beach, you know, from what I can tell. I've never been there. Like a nice, you know, lazy beach area. You go hang out, you do some hunting in the off season or whatever. But there's probably stuff there all year round. But summertime is probably, you know, really cool there. And they don't get that information out. You get the information later. And then an ogre, they described him as an ogre. And then when they see him on TV after being arrested, it's from the Netflix documentary. There he is. You know, it's like that Leonardo DiCaprio meme, watching TV with the beer. And that's from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It was the name of the movie from the Manson thing. We were talking about it last time. But, But I just think the information is out there. If you're into this, he called a couple people from the burner phones of the numbers of victims. And would say, told the one sister, and this is again from the Netflix thing. I knew this before, but actually hear the sister talk about it. She's at a whorehouse in, I think, Queens. Was it Queens or Harlem? I think it was Queens. And I just saw her last week, and then it gave the sister hope. So now, you know, they're down there and the police are down there looking, and he's playing games. So that's sadistic. So after you do what you do, you commit a crime against the family, whether it's against a child, whether it's against, you know, a murder, anything like that. And then you reach out and you get pleasure out of, you're risking a lot by reaching out, especially as Heuermann. You're risking a lot by doing this, but you just can't help yourself because you're smarter than everybody. You're smarter than the police. And this gets you off, and it shows you that you're smarter than everyone else. And that's what he's doing. He calls the victims of the family. So that's the sadistic part. Obviously, a lot of the girls now, as we're beginning to hear things come out about being tortured and things like that, probably kept for a period of time. The family's away. This is what he's done. This appears to be the pattern. Don't know if Rex is going to be the kind of guy that's going to talk. If he's going to be the BTK type, will he be the Manson type? Just talk to everybody but never say anything. Or will he be, you know, Golden State Killer, you know, Gary D'Angelo, just nothing. You get nothing out of him. I don't know. But he appears to be dead to rights on all these things. Everything's like, you know, clear here. You can look at the PCA, you can look at everything. They did at least 2 search warrants on his house. They did the really big one, the huge one, then they did one later. Actually, I have my little background. I'll play it for you for a little bit before we get out of here. But hopefully you guys kind of get into this and get back to me with stuff, because I always like to hear different things. Yeah, these are just different pictures and stuff like that. But like I said, just looking into it. If you're into the profile thing, Clemente, Dr. John Kelly has a great YouTube page, does great work on kind of everything. He had a profile out that was pretty spot on. The New York Times article, the Mirror has an article. The New York Times let me read it. And I was like, yeah, man, I'll be able to show it to everybody in the chat. And as soon as I go in there, but the Mirror was free. I should have sent that too. These are Rex at some court appearances and stuff like that. Bunch of different pictures. The dolls to me are very indicative of someone that would place a phone call, because they have ownership of that girl, right? And necessarily maybe ownership of that body, they think, or who knows about the afterlife with some of these, you know, sadistic, just sick fucks think. But that memorial, he's going and putting that doll there now. He's taking power and control over that memorial. That's my girl, and she was bad, and I put her in timeout or whatever sick kind of game he's playing. But back to my point on the 2011 with those guys, if they would have reported that to the police, and they did these memorials, they could have been like, hey, listen, sit there. Let's look around. Maybe we see a green avalanche. Maybe we see the big giant fucking guy. If you see that guy, grab him. But police weren't given that opportunity. We know that they do this, right? The Atlanta child killings. On Netflix, if you watch the show Mindhunters, one of the big things, Douglas and them guys, they had this big walk and they had them construct, the FBI guys construct the cross. And I don't know if that was, just artistic, taking advantage of the situation or not, but they were taking pictures. They knew that these people that do these type of serial offenses come to the memorials and they come to the things like that because they like to be the smartest person there. I'm the only person here that knows I did this. And I'm soaking up all this. The family feels bad. Maybe I'll even go to the mother and pat her on the back, or maybe I'll develop pictures for the family and give it to them for free, right? Now, we don't have any proof that Richard Allen reached out in any type of way or anything like that, but this is where I mean Heuermann is on a sadistic level. It appears to be past Allen. Allen will be where he deserves to be the rest of his life, but Heuermann's going to have, a lot more bodies and just, reaching out and calling people. And I just wonder if there's any other cases of that. Maybe there's other families that this happened to that they don't necessarily want to be public about it. They don't want to talk about it. But at court, you hear this or you hear that. Maybe there was emails, maybe there was more. Who really knows? But it is, this is him being arrested. It's really crazy. And all the evidence that they had early in the 2007s and, even up around 2011 and a little bit before then, the police just did nothing with it. Now, did Burke know Heuermann? I'm sure he did. I'm not saying they partied together or had these girls at parties together or anything like that, but they probably did. Think about it. Now, he's a big downtown guy. You know what I mean? He's a big guy. If you're a cop, and even if that's like your vacation area or whatever, everybody if you're a cop, right? You're going to know this guy. This guy's going to stick out like a sore thumb. Big Rex. The family called him Dear Rex. Dear Rex. He always set up the family reunions, always seemed just happy-go-lucky. Hey, let's have a drink, this and that. And, it's always that type of person. We always seem to be surprised. I can't believe it was a guy from the community all along. It's always that type of person. They hide in plain sight. That's how they get away with it. Even a big hulking ogre like Heuermann, his family, he was beloved by his family, tortured as a child. We know that. The Netflix documentary really brought more of that to light. I knew that he was tortured. I knew that as a kid, they called him Heuermann Munster because he was so big. So even though he was big, he had an old friend said he would get his butt kicked on the playground every day, and he would just take it and take it and take it because he took it at home. His dad was a sadistic son of a bitch. Sadistic. Not always, but a lot of the times you see this really sadistic side come out because of a sadistic father. There's always mom issues. Always, 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 always. If dad's in the life and dad's really mean, you kind of see this. You're punishing them for something. Bundy's dad or granddad, whatever he ended up being, was like that. So, Heuermann had that, and he was physically abused both at school. To me, a lot of the girls, and the pictures are different, and you want to look at kind of what they look like right around the time they passed away. A lot of them look like there's an old picture of his mother. And I'm not saying this is an Ed Kemper type of situation, but a lot of the girls, a lot of them are smaller. And he's 6'7", 6'8". He could tower over a 6 foot tall woman. I'm 6'3". This guy's 5 or 6 inches taller than me. He could tower over a 6 foot tall woman. But he even goes for the shorter girls to further that advantage. Right, to further help his advantage. This guy that's picked on all his life. He's a big, giant, hulking guy. He's not really muscular. He's just kind of like a big lump of shit. but he's a big guy and he has a kind of an important job and he knows people. Then he got a downtown office and he's drinking and having a drink at these fancy places. And he's in this world with these working girls or, sex workers. They prefer to be called that. Working girls was what we always said, but whatever, you know what I mean? It's, and they're getting away with it, and they mentioned it. I think they mentioned it in the Netflix documentary, misdemeanor homicide. Whenever a sex worker would disappear or die, the cops didn't really look at it. Not true in every case, but in a lot of cases. I don't think it's like that now. I think once they know that they have something, because the girls do, and guys, they skip out. Maybe they leave town for a week, have opportunity to go work in Cincinnati. I'm going to go work there for a week. New blood, I'll make some more money. I'll be back. I'm not going to tell anybody, or I was a spur of the moment thing. But after it's a long time when they're missing, then, I think it's taken more seriously, but it certainly is taken more serious than it was back in this time. So that allowed a lot of these things to happen. But is it possible there's overlap and this is multiple dumping grounds? It absolutely is. But just because some of them are a little different than others, doesn't necessarily mean that it's someone else. The odds are, in my opinion, when they find multiple bodies there, it's the same person. When they're that clustered and that close together on that same stretch of road, it's the same person. Not a given, though. Not a given. And we knew that there's other people who were operating in that area. We know back in the 70s in California, you had like 2 or 3, actually, arguably 5 or 6 operating at the same time in the state of California, and probably 3 operating in the same county or 2 counties. So it's possible. But anyways, I'm going to do some more on this because, like I said, this delta of this information is fertile, and there is a ton of it. And there's a lot that we can learn from someone like Heuermann, and there's a lot we can learn for law enforcement on how not to do shit. And like I said, we could do a show just on that. It would be a bash and law enforcement show, but it would be very warranted in this situation with those guys early on. The bonehead police chief, the bonehead district attorney, who were dirty, and they should have been buried under the jail, and they should have done more time than they got. And the street tough that stole a bag from an unmarked police car, I don't know what he was thinking, but he didn't expect to find drugs, guns, and sex toys, and that's what he found. And they beat the crap out of that kid. He got a big payday, and ended up pushing Burke off the job. One of the things that took him off the job. But yeah, I'm glad everyone had a good time meeting with each other. Maybe be something else. Maybe get something going for Florida. Maybe there'll be an arrest here in the near future. I know the case is being worked. And I know that that's not a shitty thing to say, but like, who wants to hear that, right? It's being worked. It is. It's being worked. It's being worked by, in my opinion, the best people that can work it. Sometimes there's good people on cases and they just can't break cases because they just don't have the resources. They have 5 cases in front of them. If they could spend 24/7 on one, maybe they could do better. But sometimes you just need resources. So that's what I got the floor shirt on. We're going to talk about that. I've been talking to a couple of different creators in the background about it, sending information to anybody that I could send it to. That's, hey, this is what I have. Take it, read it, see what you got. Within the last week, I've sent it to, I think, 3 different creators. One I thought I sent it to a long time ago, but as we were talking about things, and he was going to be a fresh set of eyes on a couple things. And no, I don't have that. You don't have that. Shit. Let me send it to you. So I flooded his email box. I kept him busy probably for a day or 2, but it's being investigated. It doesn't mean we can't talk about it or send stuff to people. Like I said, maybe only 125 people have seen the information. Maybe if we get to 130, someone's just going to see something like, oh shit, wait a minute, go back, check this, look at that. Wait a minute, this jives. And none of all of us missed it. It's absolutely possible. But I think by talking about Flora, whoever did this and whether they meant to do what they did or just cause a nuisance fire, maybe drive someone out of that house. they might see this, they might not see this, but someone that knows they did this is going to see this. And, you know, your message to them should be get in front of this shit, because I'll tell you what, it's being worked. And I'm not, I have no inside dope on any investigation. No one reaches out and asks me anything, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I am not a private investigator. I'm just an amateur web sleuth. But if I can help, I'll help. If there's anything we could push up a hill, we'll push it up the hill. But I don't get anything back. I've tipped one thing in and never heard anything back from it, which is fine. They don't have to get back to me. I'm all right with it. But I'm going to leave you guys to it. But I hope I gave you stuff tonight. Go back, watch that interview. If you get the opportunity to watch the Griselda Grizzly True Crime, look up Grizzly True Crime, Jim Clemente. She has a fantastic episode of breaking down that profile from Jim Clemente. It's really good. Jim Clemente, look him up. He has a ton of great interviews. He helped catch the DC snipers. He was the only guy in the room that said, for the first time ever, we have a sniper team. A dominant adult who uses SA to control a younger person. And no one knew till years later that was happening, that Melvo was assaulting, or Muhammad was assaulting Melvo. And that's what was happening. And that was the way that he controlled him. One of the ways that he controlled him. But that's Jim Clemente for you. The doll thing's interesting. I appreciate the comment about that kind of doll with that kind of case. Could be barking up the wrong tree there. But the Heuermann doll, those things bother me. I shouldn't say the Heuermann dolls, the timeout dolls on those, at least two of the memorials. I just can't imagine anyone else doing that. And again, if the police knew what to look for, you would hope that the FBI was kicked out, I think, at that point. So they didn't have the resources to tell these guys, sit on that for a couple of days, put a camera up, something, in case somebody comes and shows up. Because the Suffolk County guys at the time, led by Burke and the Jabroni district attorney, they weren't doing like that, right? They didn't want any cameras in that area because they were out there crazy wild parties. But anyways, I'm going to leave you to it. I hope you have a good Thursday night. We got a guy coming in, Brooks' son's friend, to start painting downstairs. So there's going to be a little cattywampus for a while. But I received another endorsement last night in a town nearby, so I appreciate that. That election's May the 20th, and the debate is April 29th. Very least, I'll share on YouTube the link that you can watch it live, because it will be on YouTube on the school board or in a school district site. So you'll get to see Coach Kevin in debate on April 29th. I don't know what the questions will be, but there's rules. I got the rules and all that already. So, but I don't mind talking in front of people. I will talk until you take the microphone away from me. I once told reporters after basketball games, and they found out that was true. But I appreciate you coming in. Really great chat tonight. If you're just coming in late, go check that interview out with that doctor. Again, True Crime News shared it. You can go to their Facebook or their YouTube page and watch the whole thing. It's just bizarre. And again, I don't know what ties he has to Rex or could do anything like that, but you watch that and you can tell that guy is lying out his ass, right? All right. I'm going to leave you to it. Happy Thursday. That's water, not vodka. You know, watch some baseball, fold some laundry, and check out this Nate Adams guy. I think that's what NA stands for. All right. Thank you for coming in so much. Look for another Rex interview coming up. Oh, and look for a post about members only coming up again. We're going to have one next week. It's probably going to be Tuesday, but look for that, and we'll have a topic, and it'll be pretty cool. So thanks, everyone, for coming in. And I hope you learned a little bit tonight, and I hope that you guys go do your own investigating and get back to me, Kevlar148gmail.com, if you find anything cool about interesting about the Heuermann case that I didn't tell you. All right, peeps. Coach Kev, out.